Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. What's up? How are you guys?
Doing good, doing good. Just living life.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Where are you guys right now?
We're at my apartment in Milwaukee,
Fuck yeah.
downtown. And yeah, we're sitting on the couch.
Hell yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, where are you, Daniel?
I'm in South Florida where it's beachy and
You're in South
bitchy.
Florida.
Quickly before we get into the questions, I must say, Daniel, you dropped a song and it's marvelous.
Oh, that's so kind of you guys. Thank
Oh,
you.
it's amazing. I bumped it in the car on the way here, and
That's
you,
so nice. I have to say I have been showing, especially since like we've been talking, like your guys' album has like come out. I've been showing your guys' music to like quite literally all of my friends, and I just I hear so many like like compliments that like artists that don't make interesting music would never hear. It's just so cool, like especially like that I know you guys, like and that you guys just make such cool art. I can't, it doesn't work right in my brain. I'm like, people like that don't exist. Like, so I get first question is where did Al's Garage come from? What the heck is that? What where is it? Who is it?
when we moved into my house, when I was like 12 years old, they spray painted Al's Garage on the wall, and we
previous
never,
owner.
the previous owner, yeah, we never knew uh, who it was or why it was there. We spent a lot of time in that garage growing up, like doing things. We made a lot of our first few albums in there, and it just kind of felt right to use that as the album name. I don't know.
I could
Yeah.
definitely tell that, like listening to the album, it's definitely very much so about like your guys' like growing up and experiencing just like new life and for the first time and being like, how did I get like to this age? Like, what when did this album start for you guys? Like, what was the starting point for it, and when was that?
Well, technically it started in 2020,
Very beginning, like January, right before
because that's when
COVID.
we started the Don't Let Me Drive instrumental. To see how far that idea has come is insane. Especially like you being on that song, like that's so cool. So
It was a really awesome experience, like getting to be on it. Like really, I love that song to death, and I think it really hits hard on the album. Every other song around it kind of gives you this. I don't want to say optimistic in terms of, because a lot of the themes are, it's kind of self-deprecating at times, or it's not always optimistic, but that sound, that hope in the music still. Then it gets to that song and you just feel crushed, like the best way. You just feel crushed. You need to feel all of that for it to be genuine. And you
For
guys
sure.
are definitely make genuine music, which
Ah,
I think is why you guys are still here. So
thank you, Daniel.
uh, of course. Actually, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the album has been a long time coming. Uh, a lot of those songs are like old.
Fantasy.
Fantasy
That's
was
from the
amazing.
Valentine's Day days.
yeah,
Really?
and feels like yesterday also.
That was like more than a year before the album.
I think what happened was we put out Valentine's Day, and then life happened and many life events and hard things. We were like, okay, I guess let's try and make new music, and we tried, and it did not work for a period of too long, where we would sit down and just nothing was working. We would get frustrated. We would get upset. We had nothing new, and it was really hard. And so I think what happened is we kind of delved back into some of those projects we never got to finish. And so part of this was like completing a part of our artistry that wouldn't have seen the light of day had we not gone back and finished it. So I'm glad we did.
I'm very glad you did too. It sounds like you got pretty introspective about that whole mindset though, because that seems to open the whole album, that concept, as in too long. it's such a cool opener to the album. Like where in writing the album, like was that the song where you're like, this is like what should really start the album?
That was a really old one too.
Yeah.
Was
Really?
that Valentine's Day
It was
times?
post Valentine's Day, but very, very
Early
shortly
on,
after.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess I wanted to start out with like a bang because we hadn't dropped something in 2 years, and
It felt like it was supposed to be our comeback or something.
right. I don't want to talk too much, but like after Valentine's Day, I got like super insecure and not feeling like the vibe that our music had. Nobody was projecting that onto me. It was just my own beliefs about myself and the things that we create. I think that song is kind of like a middle finger to that part of myself that hates it and like is embarrassed by it or whatever.
And I think a big part of making this album was as he said, we were in a big creative slump. So it was a lot of overcoming that. For some reason
Yeah.
it clicked and we could suddenly be creative again. I don't know. It was strange.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's strange.
Why is that?
We kept saying we were naming dates that we were gonna release singles. We were like February, new single, and we didn't release anything for like, another year and a half.
You know, I don't want to be that. I want to be the guy who means what he says. And so we were like, no matter what, this summer we're making an album, and we did. Because a big thing was like, yeah, our Valentine's Day had a little bit of success. Like, I don't think, and this is me speaking just bluntly, I don't think we'll ever have a song as big as the ones we did in Valentine's Day. But like, I'm okay with that because that's not really what it's about. I'm choosing happiness over success. Yeah.
So fucking weird now. Everything is.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I'm being real, my dream is for nobody to know that I make songs that are like popular.
That would be fun. Or you could be a writer too.
Definitely. But the other part of me is like, well, why do I want to do that? Do I want to do that just to avoid any criticism being tied to my name?
Interesting.
I think I'm just gonna we have reviews on albumoftheyear.com.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we just have one guy who reviewed. And I have to say it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I think he said for Valentine's Day something like has some really great moments, but also moments that make me cringe so hard I fold into a black hole. And I was like, I agree with that statement. I also agree with the statement he made about Al's Garage, which is I forgot what it was. I think he said it's just mid or but
I have to heavily disagree with all of that, but hey, to whatever that album of the year guy thinks, I mean,
But yeah, that was just a weird tangent. I just thought that was funny.
that is funny. I guess I'll jump back to earlier in the album, Best Friend. I thought that song was so sweet when I first listened to it. It's such a cute song, but when you listen to it more, it's definitely more complex than just like a sweet song.
So I wrote that about a year and a half ago. Like the entire song was done besides the instrumental. Like, and there was different versions of the instrumental. I just couldn't decide on one. That was back in the age of second guessing everything and not thinking it's good enough. And it's so weird talking about it because I never thought I would see the light of day, honestly. But yeah, it's a sweet one. Yeah.
Yeah. Artists, I think sometimes just don't know how to place their songs sometimes on a record. And I think you guys did it really perfectly with this one. I think that's why I enjoyed it more listening to through than Valentine's Day. I felt that with the order of songs, it just made so much sense to me. Like when I listened to it.
I do think we follow a structure. Valentine's Day, we had the opener, and then we had Infatuation. And this album, we had, the big opener, and then we have Best Friend, which is similar.
We used to refer to as Infatuation 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have our little rituals. Like, obviously, the number song is the second to last. He always sings the first line of the album, and I always say the last line. Although on this one, it's the clip of me.
Yeah, you say something is that you as like a kid or something?
Yeah.
That's another part of the album is like the opener has at the beginning a clip of us as kids, and that clip is the origins of our name.
I was gonna ask that. That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Dude, they're coming back tonight. The dude and their guys. Oh my gosh.
I love that made its way like into a song, especially like right at the start of it. Like that's so smart. I'm gonna literally as soon as we get off, I'm just gonna listen to this again. All right, I gotta
really.
oh my god, yeah. Solo.
Solo.
That was a really, really real one for me. Cause that's like how I operate. What was the intent behind that song? It feels like a contrast almost to the song before it.
And that's kind of, I felt a little bit on purpose, just because of the weird place I'm at in my life. Of right now, I'm single and I'm really just focusing on my life and my aspirations. Because a relationship, in some sense, is a responsibility. You have to, you have to put work in if you want it to work and you want the other person to be happy. And I'm just not in that space where I can give that. But Solo started out with Drew made a project on BandLab, and then we transferred over everything to Logic, and then I kind of spruced it up with some drums. It's a good time. It's a good song, I think.
Babyface.
Babyface.
I just turned 21, so this one was also super relatable for me. I mean, I'm a grown Jewish boy that can only grow like mid sideburns and whatever the fuck you would call this.
Hey, you're lucky. You're lucky.
Hell of a lot more than I can grow.
So literally, Drew and I cannot grow facial hair. I mean, the
Look at
most
us.
the
That's
most I
crazy.
can do, I have
Come
like
on.
some pubic hair up here, but that's it.
I got like some on the tip of my chin.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, you got to take care of those chinny chins.
Don't huff and puff too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Might blow the house down. It's such a fun like part of the record. It's such a fun song. Do you guys have fun
Definitely.
making this or what?
Definitely the most fun to make. Like,
That's good to hear. I know some songs can sound fun, but the process is just like
do you know our song "Have a Seat"?
Yes, I love that song actually.
So that was like the inspiration for Babyface. You'll notice some thematic similarities. In both songs, he goes to a convenience store
Yeah.
and something happens.
Oh.
And me in both songs meet someone on Tinder and something happens.
Oh my god. I have to listen back for that now. That's so cool.
all we're missing is Chris Hansen.
I don't know how much time we have, but I don't even care because I could spend the rest of the time talking about fantasy. It's one of my favorites on the album. And I'm actually surprised that you guys said it was one of the earlier ones you made. I just think it's so interesting. It's like a dance song with like the deepest lyrics you would never fucking expect. I just think it's so fucking brilliantly done. Like big kudos. Even though it's I think a newer sound that we really haven't like heard, it's still in the middle, totally switches, and it kind of gives you still that classic like dudes and their guys sound, and ends again with the big dance beat. It's so cool. What came first? Did the production for that come first? The idea, the lyrics?
We started with the production.
During COVID, virtually, we started this one.
Yeah. And it started with the then somewhere along the road, I was like, all right, let me see if I can make an alternate version. Because I was like, I don't know. I wasn't sure about the dance, influences.
We thought it was too much also like Keep Walking. We're like,
Keep walking. Don't turn around.
it's the same as Keep Walking at this point.
So I made like a completely alternate version, a different instrumental. It had different, it was in a different key and everything. And we were so torn on which one to go with. So we were like, fuck
We went
it.
with both.
Halfway through, we'll just switch to the other one.
And we used that as like the turning point of the album. So there was kind of this idea that the first half of the album would be more like classic dudes and their guys stuff. Then with that change in the middle of that song, the second half is more like
Where the fuck did I just go? Yeah.
Yeah, where we're
Exactly.
headed.
Where we're headed
Yeah.
in the future. Yeah.
I still can't listen to it in the car though, because I'm just such a picky son of a bitch, Mixing it was so hard. And... I'm never doing this again.
Array of faces, pick and choose for the right times, people and places.
I bump that one in the car constantly.
Let me ask you. Do you like the first half or the second half better?
I think it worked. I can't choose. Like, it just works so well as one cohesive song. I'm not one of those people that could just like skip a song like halfway through, like listening to it. Like with music, my attention span, like I need to feel the whole thing, you know? And that's why I love that song so much. Just kind of like Billie Eilish's song Happier Than Ever. It just totally changes, like
It's so
right in the middle.
Love that song.
It's a
dude.
great song.
I
But
love
then
that
they
song.
released a version of it that was like only like one part of the song. And I was like, who
Yeah.
the fuck wants to listen to that?
Well, you know, the funny thing about that is that originally we called the demo for that ABBA Eilish because I thought that it sounded like Billie Eilish meets ABBA when we
I get
first
that.
made it in 2020.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
That is really funny. Nostalgia. That was actually, besides Don't Let Me Drive, that was actually the first song I had heard on the album. Caden texted me actually. You're like, yeah, it's just like this like slow acoustic song. You're like, don't expect too much. I literally just like cried my eyes out the first time I heard it. And it's been like on repeat since then.
Did you watch the music video?
Yes, I did watch the music video. The music video made me tear up too.
The parts of that video where it's like us modern day playing the song, like when we recreated the old clips, we recorded those the night that the video came out.
Probably like an hour before, which is
You guys are legends.
so on brand for us.
Last minute everything. Yeah.
I just think there's just something that says so much with the simplicity of just like the acoustics and the background vocals and the vocals.
A week before it dropped, I was like trying to add things like a string section and like some sub bass, and it was like, I don't know, it doesn't need it. Like, I feel like it's always more. And
I wrote the music for that song, and I wrote it for Sundown King, my other thing. It was going to be a lot faster, more like a indie pop rock. And then we were trying to figure out what to do for nostalgia because we knew we wanted it to be slow and whatever. And so I just played that song for Caden, and he's like, eh. And then I played it again, but way slower. And he was like, that's beautiful.
Okay, obviously another one of my favorites is our collaboration. That's obviously one of my favorites. Don't Let Me Drive is so good. Like I said before, it's just such a juxtaposition to the rest of the songs. But it really is like a late night drive song. Like, it was so fun to like make too, even though it was like kind of a sadder song. I had so much fun like meeting with you and making that. We got deep too. We had some deep ass talk.
I mean, that's one of my favorite parts. Like being able to, I don't know, like I was pretty vulnerable with you and you were vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
I feel like that is where art is supposed to come from.
You guys said that this was one of the first things you guys started for this record.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where did the ideas end up like fully meeting up?
Not much really changed musically from like near the beginning, from way before Valentine's Day. The synths and all that and the general beat of it.
The only lyric I had for the song, which was started in 2020, I found in my notes app, and it was just "Don't let me drive, I'm not sober." And then
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, which is funny because I started in 2020 and I still feel the same way today. It's like, and that's a whole other part
You
of it.
feel like you shouldn't drive
No,
when you're drunk?
the song is about how I and we and the human being has such struggles with just existing without needing something to, maintain. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, I mean, I smoke weed a lot. That's what it's about. And I'm glad you could be a part of it.
Feels like yesterday. This is also actually one of my favorites on the record, production wise and lyrically. For this album, what were your guys' main inspirations?
Well, for me, and I mean for Caden also, well, the theme was nostalgia. That was the theme. And for me, I was writing stuff that tried to make me feel the way I felt in 2006 when we were in kindergarten and life was simpler and it was just a lot more fun. And that's what I was going for with Feels Like Yesterday, and really nostalgia too. And I was just trying to make something that felt like the old days, really.
Were there any like artistic influences you guys had? Like anyone that you guys like looked up to in the creation of this album?
I don't know. The people I listen to, I don't. It's not the kind of music I make. Like I listen to like rap. It's just not similar to the stuff I make, and so I don't know. You have influences, don't you? Like the Killers.
Yeah, I
And,
got influences.
yeah.
My main music for the longest time was like 60s music. For this, like, I'd say probably like Arctic Monkeys, The Killers, maybe even some Panic have been big influences for me lately.
Congratulations. I guess this is my last song question. What does the ending of this album mean to you guys?
I feel like once you graduate college, you kind of get this. You get the spiel from everyone, like, oh, now you gotta get a real job, and oh, now you're gonna have to pay for your own stuff, and like, I guess entering into that world is what inspired this song because it's not easy and it's scary, and I think that was a great thing for us to close on because it's kind of where we're at now.
Did that like originally like fit into like the concept for you guys? Did you like have to make it work a little bit?
I made the demo, and as soon as Caden heard it, he was like, "That's the last song on the album."
Yeah,
Boom.
Really?
Yeah.
it had the ending quality. I mean, the instrumental started it, and then I do not remember how we came up with the title. But once it was said, we were like, okay, that's it. I mean, congratulations. Everybody sang that to us at our graduation. Congratulations. It's just,
I guess ending on that note of the album, what's next?
yeah.
Well, we're gonna tell you some stuff that's next.
Right? Announcing the announcement. Let's go. We have a lot of scrap songs over the course of all of our years. And so we've decided to make an album dedicated to just releasing all of those old things.
Wow.
And that will be coming out not very soon.
All right, you guys, this has been sincerely a huge pleasure.
Yeah.
Same here.
Same.
And you're incredible. And thank you.
All right, see you guys in a year. Bye.